Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello students. In this video, I'll take up the first chapter of biology, which is the fundamental unit of life. Have you ever wondered what are we organisms made up of? What is our body made up of? Right from a tiny ant or a mosquito to a huge elephant or a blue whale, what is our body made up of? So this chapter basically focuses on the fundamental unit of life, which is called a cell. Okay, whenever you have to build a wall, what do? We put brick by brick and make a huge wall. Similarly, the bodies of all living organisms, whether they are tiny organisms or huge organisms, the bodies are made up of tiny cells. The cells, they are grouped together to form the structure and function of the organisms. So let's begin this chapter, the fundamental unit of life. So, what is cell? Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. All the cells are capable of carrying out certain basic functions. All living organisms are made up of cell. So I just told you cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. It is called structural unit of life because structure of all the living organisms are made up of cell. And each cell is able to perform certain specific basic functions which are necessary for the survival of any living organism, like respiration, nutrition, excretion, transportation. All the cells are able to perform certain basic functions, and the group of cells perform these functions for the living organisms. So that is why we say that cell is basic structural and functional unit of life. So, who discovered cell and how? This great scientist Robert Hooke, he was the first person to discover cell and to coin the term cell. He discovered cell in 1665 while studying a thin slice of cork under a self-designed microscope. He took a thin slice of cork. Cork is the outermost part of the bark of a big tree. Alright, so the cork cells actually they are dead cells. They contain only the outer cell wall. So they are dead cells, and plus his self-designed microscope, it did not have much power. It could not magnify to large extent. So what he observed was a honeycomb-like structure consisting of little compartments. So he named these boxes as cell because cell means little rooms in Latin. Look at this. He observed something like this, tiny honeycomb-like structure, tiny compartments which were empty. So he thought that living bodies are made up of these tiny compartments, and he called them cell. Later on, many new discoveries were made. Leeuwenhoek discovered the first free living cell in the pond water using his improved microscope. Then Robert Hooke discovered nucleus of the cell. Each cell contains a central dark part, which is the nucleus. Then Purkinje, he coined the term protoplasm for the fluid substance inside the cell. Whatever fluid is present inside the cell, inside its boundary, is termed as the protoplasm. Then Schleiden and Schwann presented the cell theory, which states that all the plants and animals are composed of cells and that the cell is the basic unit of life. This cell theory was presented by Schleiden and Schwann. Then later on, Virchow further expanded the cell theory by suggesting that all the cells arise from pre-existing cells. The cells, they grow, then when they are grown enough, then they divide into two. This is how the organism grow, by cell division. All the cells, they arise from the pre-existing cell by the process of cell division or cell reproduction. Now, shape and size of the cell. I just told you, although all the cells, they are very, very tiny. You cannot see most of the cells through naked eye. We have to observe them under microscope. But different cells have different shapes depending upon two things. First, their functional adaptation, and second, about their location. What kind of function do they have to perform? The cell structure is based upon that. And where are these cells located? What is the mechanical pressure exerted by the surrounding cells? So the shape depends upon this factor. Look at these two cells. This is the nerve cell. Nerve cells, since they have to transfer the message from brain to other parts of the body and from the sensory organs to the brain, so that is why they are thin thread-like structure, because it is better for the function they have to perform. In the next figure, these are the RBCs, or the red blood corpuscles. Okay, you'll see they are not spherical, they are disc shaped, okay, flattened from both the ends. So this helps them to pass through even the narrow arteries or capillaries, because they have to flow in the blood, so their shape actually is suitable to according to their function. So the shape and size of the cell depends upon the function they have to perform and where are they located. Now, these three facts. The smallest cell is mycoplasma, which is a bacteria. Largest cell known is the ostrich egg, and longest cell is the nerve cell. Even in the human body, the longest is the nerve cell. Otherwise, the longest known cell is the nerve cell in the neck of giraffe. It is the longest. It can be as long as 1 meter. So the next topic is unicellular and multicellular organism. Depending upon the number of cells in which the organism consists of, the organisms can be divided into two broad categories: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. As the name suggests, uni means one. So unicellular organisms consist of only single cell. All the activities of the cell are carried out by this single cell. The single cell has to perform all the activities like nutrition, respiration, reproduction, excretion. All these activities which are important for the survival of living organisms are performed by single cell. Then reproduction involves a single cell. The cell grows, then divides into two. The lifespan of individual is short because they have simple structure. Example, amoeba, chlamydomonas, paramecium, bacteria. These are some common examples of unicellular organisms. Look at their figures, diagrams. This is amoeba. This is bacteria cell, a single cell organism. This is chlamydomonas, and this is paramecium. All these are unicellular organisms. On the other hand, we have multicellular organisms which consist of large number of cells. The cells are specialized to perform different functions. Each cell is not responsible for performing all the functions. Cells group together to form tissues. Then each tissue perform different function. Like bones, we have blood, we have bones, we have muscles. So different tissues perform different functions. So there is division of labor among the cells, because different cells are specialized to perform different functions. Like the cells in the intestine, they are designed for better absorption of the nutrients. Alright, so the heart muscles, they are designed to carry out contraction and relaxation. So there is division of labor. Each group of cell is specialized to perform a specific function. Only some cells of the body, which are called gametes, they take part in reproduction. I just told you in unicellular, only one cell is involved in reproduction, but in multicellular, only gametes, two gametes, they are involved in reproduction. Lifespan of individual is long. In unicellular, I just told you, lifespan is short because of simple structure. But in this case, the structure is complex and it is more modified. That is why their lifespan is long. Example, fungus, plants, animals, all the organisms which you see around, they are multicellular organisms. Look at this, the mushroom, some plants, all these are multicellular organisms.